Welcome everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of Who You Talkin to. I'm your host MTTN GG, or like our guest right now used to call us Mountain GG. That's our name tonight because we have an amazing guest. Everybody, welcome HMK. Man, how you doing? How are you?
Great. I'm amazing, man. Thank you so much for bringing me onto the show. But listen, man, you really get that stuff put up and sandbag me. Like, listen, I was reading and it like MTN, so I'm like, oh, Mountain, and like Mountain Dew does the MTN thing. So I mean, like, I don't know. I sometimes when I see people on chat, I end up giving them names that are not really their names. And
yeah, it's fine. And I've been there as well. Actually, the first time it happened to me, there was a guy on my chat a few months back, and his name was like ATTWB, something like that, but it was supposed to mean something completely different. So yeah, messed up. So totally, I've been there. And well, first off, I mean, I just mentioned this, but thank you very much for being the very first guest of Who You Talking to, which just so you know, this is a series that I've been working on for the past 3 months, and it's I'm basically doing interviews like this, but with my Spanish-speaking friends, with my Spanish-speaking streamer friends, right? Because I have my own content creator team that I started a few years back. Nice. So starting with that, now that I have all this, this huge community next to me, the fifth dimension, which means the world to me. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how everything has been built up, you know, to this point.
Right.
So, well, let's get started, right?
Let's get right into it, man. Yo, it means a lot. Like saying it means a lot. It means a lot to me. Just like, you know, that was part of the mission, man.
Great. Thank you so much, man. Thank you very much. And well, first off, who's this? Who are you? Who are we talking to?
Okay, so who am I? My name, for those who don't know, is HMK. I'm a content creator that started way back when. I'm an old man at this point. I used to do, well, I mean, I still do, obviously, a lot of Legend of Zelda, Kingdom Hearts, Super Smash Bros., Nintendo, and then every now and again, I just spill into other things because, you know, a lot of people get surprised by this, but those aren't the only 3 games I play. I play a lot of other games and whatnot, and I've been streaming and doing content creation for about, serious content creation. I've been doing it for about 6 years, but I've been doing content creation a little bit more, but it didn't really take off until like 6 years ago, where I'm able to, like, you know, partially sustain myself, but now I'm able to sustain myself. And I've been doing that type of content creation, the hype, the reactions, the theories, anything to make you talk and speculate or just drive your brain wild. That's basically my bag. You know, I like to keep people like invested. I like to keep people thinking, energetic, because I'm a naturally, you know, energetic guy. Every time I see people who are like, man, I bet you're not that energetic in real life, I'm like, I don't know. My friends get annoyed by me sometimes, you know, because I'm unnaturally.
Because that's natural.
Eccentric.
Yeah.
It's natural to me, but it's unnatural to them. I'm just like, man, whatever.
Definitely.
So that's who I am. That's what I've been doing for the past, you know, 6 years or whatnot, and here's to 6 more years, I guess.
Man, I met your content. I stumbled with your content, I have to say, about 2 years ago when I first played Kingdom Hearts 3. So I beat the game, right? And I was like, man, I need more. I need more info. Mr. Juan, thank you so much for the 500 videos. Thank you so much. Welcome, nice. Mr. Juan. Thank you so much for the bits, and welcome to the party. And yeah, I stumbled upon with your content of 2 years ago, right? I finished the game. I needed answers. I needed something more, right? And the very first thing I found was a theory about the post-credit scene and stuff. With the,
I know that video, the Verum Rex video,
yeah, the Verum Rex, because that was one of my main concerns. I knew there was something behind. I remember playing the game and telling my girlfriend, like, this can't be happening. This is not a coincidence.
This can't be the
There
end.
are
Oh,
no coincidences. There are no. Yes, this is too. I would say too loose for an ending. So I know there's more, and there's a lot more behind, right? So first thing, I didn't have the opportunity to watch the back cover movie before
Right.
playing Kingdom Hearts 3. So I was kind of in the middle of a blackout for that info, right? Oh, let me turn down my alert box a little bit because it's too high. There we go. All right, and thank you so much for the follows, guys. Thank you so much. Welcome to the party. And I remember that I started watching that single video, and I got so caught up with it, like big time. I started replaying the games. I started watching your old videos, your previous theories, and it was mind blowing. So I want to know, where did you get this inspiration from? I mean, how do you find the inspiration to do all this stuff? Get all these theories out of your head? How do you do it?
Well, it's funny. A lot of people ask me that, and then they ask me that, and I guess they ask other theorists that, where they're like, "Oh, how do you get the inspiration, or how do you get the juice to make theories or whatnot?" And a lot of people times are like, "Oh, it comes naturally," and sometimes that's the answer I like to give, but it does. I feel it's not enough to say an answer like that. So I did a lot of soul searching to understand how do I get this kind of rapid mind where I'm just constantly thinking, and I feel it comes down to my love for overall mythology. And I'm not talking about just mythology in Kingdom Hearts or mythology in Legend of Zelda. When I was a kid, I used to study all things when it comes to anything mythological and stuff. One of my favorite subjects is Greek mythology, and I study Egyptian mythology. I study Roman mythology. I even study aspects of religions and stuff. For a whole 2 years and a half, I was actually called a Satanist because I would read the Satanic Bible only for research purposes, right?
Yeah.
And I would, read all these and study all these aspects of religion, mythology, and stuff like that. Just, see how the world's built, the world we know it, in terms of legends, lore, and what inspirations, people, especially video game makers, have when, creating their craft or their medium and stuff. So when it comes to all these avenues that are already present to me in my head or whatnot, I just seeing how vast, human craft can be when thinking about these various aspects of lore and mythology. I'm once upon a time Greek mythology was a religion, and now we call it mythology, and somebody had to think of all of this. So when I'm thinking about that, I guess it leads me to break out of the box or the notion of how people are supposed to accept or consume media. And then every time I see something new when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, Legend of Zelda, Smash Brothers, or anything like that, that doesn't really have an answer. It has an answer, but doesn't really have an answer. I'm always like, okay, that can't be it. And then I just start, thinking. I listen to music. I drink some coffee. Sometimes when I'm in the shower, I just be like, okay, so what if I do this, if I do that? And then a lot of the times it just comes to me, but sometimes I really have to force it out. But I guess my aptitude to doing all that really gets born from my love of studying various religions and mythologies that I guess, opened my third eye in terms of, theory crafting. So I guess that's, my answer to that.
Okay, so based on that, if you have found yourself a few times having to force it to happen,
Right.
Do you remember the theory or the video that has taken the most out of you? I mean, in a way that it just didn't flow at all. You actually had to force it.
I had it's funny you asked that. A lot of the times there are a lot of theories and videos that actually don't see the light of day when they don't flow at all. And sometimes when I'm making videos, they flow later and stuff. But to answer your question, I guess the hardest video to get to the point where I'm like, okay, now we're flowing, I think it would have to be I did this one theory a long time ago, right? And I'm looking back on it, and I'm like, I'm not sure, but whatever. It was my one theory I called my family of Xehanort theory. where I was messing around with the notion that the reason why Xehanort chose Terra to begin with is because Terra and Aqua, they were raised by Ericus. But I mean, I don't know if they knew their parents or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when you take the similarities of how Terra kind of grew up, how Terra uses the Keyblade and whatnot, and then you cross contaminate the what do you call them, the similarities between Terra and Riku back to Xehanort, Terra back to Xehanort and stuff. And when you even see, Terra's own hair shape and stuff and compare it to like, young Xehanort, a lot of people to this day still confuse Terra Xehanort and young Xehanort for being the same person. And like, they're actually two different people.
Yeah.
But they're still Xehanort. But I can see why people were confused. And I'm like, this could mean something. And I was like, just going around with the whole notion that the reason why Xehanort chose Terra is because his darkness or his embodiment was more compatible with him. It's like, oh, that's the son he never knew, or the son that he abandoned way back when. Because like, the only thing Xehanort cares about is researching. He doesn't have a time to raise a kid. So it's like, here, Ericus, have this child. Let me dump another kid on you. Here's Ventus. Who knows? Xehanort may have found Aqua and dumped her on Ericus as well. But that was one theory that it took forever. But then when it got to a point, then I felt
actually had to scratch all over it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think, or I mean, I suppose that you actually have to imagine all of that being reality first, right? If
exactly.
not, I mean, you're not gonna transmit the hype. You're not gonna, you're not gonna get anyone excited about it, right?
Exactly. I only put theories out that I only put theories out that I truly believed at the time of it coming out. I truly believed that could be an answer or close to the answer, somewhere in the ballpark. Right. Of course, with time, as time passes, some theories came true, most theories didn't. But that doesn't stop me from making theories. No,
and actually, I mean, I think that that's something that you can apply to basically any content creation, if you think so. I mean, because you actually have to believe in your content and what you're talking about and whatnot,
right?
For it to be successful.
Yeah, you're not gonna, you have to be confident in what you put out. You can't, put out stuff that you're not confident in or didn't have fun making and stuff. Because like, if you're just putting out content, to put out content, either for money gains or anything like that. If you don't have fun with it, and if you don't believe in your own content, then you kind of miss the point of making it in the first place.
Right.
And then it's doomed to fail. Maybe not in the short run, but in the long run when you look back on things.
Definitely. Wow, that was very nice. I actually never heard of that theory before. I haven't.
It's old. It's old. It's
How
an old theory. It's like, bro. It's
how many years back?
I'm pretty sure I put that theory out in 2015. Bro, that theory is old. Like, that was fledgling HMK. But I mean, a lot of people enjoyed it. So I mean,
let's go. Let's do it.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. And for example, I mean, let's say that I walk into your studio, right? What is the one thing that I will never miss? I mean, that I will always see there in your studio. The one thing.
Well, I mean, I have a lot of big things in my studio, and I guess I guess the one thing you can never miss is this, which I really like. A fan made me this. It was like a wooden replica
nice.
plate.
Nice.
So I guess this is the one thing you could never miss. This is like, I guess this is like one of my like main treasures for my studio. Like I still, as soon as I got this, I never messed around with it, never got rid of it.
That's
it's
so
always
nice.
on display right there. And so it's one of my favorite things, honestly.
Oh man, that's so
I guess
nice.
that's what it. Man,
cool.
That was definitely one thing. If not, the thousands of posters and all my.
Okay, then in that case, choose just, let's say you only have one poster to keep. Which one will it be? Only one poster. Choose your favorite one.
My favorite one, and you guys can see it from here. My favorite poster is that Kingdom Hearts 1.5 poster right there. That was gifted to me by a really cool fan and a really cool friend, Gil. And that poster on the back side of it is actually signed by Shinji Hashimoto. So I think that would be the one.
Fancy.
Yeah, that would be the one I keep. You know,
Nice,
like
nice.
I just had to, you know, that's the one. Yeah.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah.
I see your GameCube controller right in the back. Nice.
Oh yeah, this my custom made one right there, and I got my PlayStation Switch control all set up right there.
Nice.
Oh
Nice.
my god.
Everything handy all the time.
Yeah.
You gotta be
Oh,
ready. You
oh.
gotta be ready.
Exactly, man. And I ain't out here just like, okay, where's my controller? Just gonna go down here. It's like, no, 1, 2, 3, done. My
Nice.
main 3 consoles right now.
Hey, and just in case, everyone in the chat here on Twitch, if there are any HMK mods or followers, viewers here on the chat with us, please post the link for his online store so you can check out all the cool merch that HMK has out. It's
You
amazing.
didn't have to do that.
You can show them. You can show them. Yeah, please
Look,
show off your t-shirt.
I
Hell yeah.
survived Ghidorah. Yo, this t-shirt sold like stupid well, man. I'm like, bro, I just like, you know, let me just put out this dumb design, and then people just like, whoa, and I'm like, this one dude, and it's funny because it wasn't really the intention at first. This one dude pointed out, it's like, hey, it's like one of those I survived a ride from Disney, and I'm like, you know, I wasn't planning that. That was not planned at all.
But
No,
it
I
worked
just-
out,
I
bro.
survived. It worked out because, you know, it's Disney and stuff. You know, I survived Yuzora because Yuzora is a pain in the neck. But yeah, man, it's great. I love it.
Out of all of your let's say, I don't want to say campaigns, but out of all your series, which one has been the one that you have put more love and effort into?
Like, in terms of like content,
Preparing, like I don't know, making the name. I don't know, like for example, Killa Kun and Pals, right? We have the Persona 5 streams, which are freaking cool. We have the Super Smash Bros with all the Get Smoked theme all over the place. We have all the Kingdom Hearts hype. I remember the name, was it like Easy Pro something?
Yeah, Easy Pro hard soft mode. Yeah.
How do you come up with that stuff, and which one has taken you the longest to prepare?
And in terms of streams, you know, it's weird answering a type of question like that, because most of the time when I really put my mind to like a certain stream that I want to prepare like really nicely, I usually make preparations in like pieces. I don't like sit for a whole day and you're like, okay, this is the preparation done for this type of series or this type of stream, and like, okay, I wake up, all right, let me do a little bit of work on this and then done. So it's really hard to gauge which series or which, you know, stream took the most of my time in terms of putting together or whatnot. When it came to Killa Kun and Pals, it was very organic when I put that name together, because you know, obviously on Twitch it's HMKilla, and then when they said, oh, name your Persona guy, name Joker, and I'm like, okay, HM first name Killa, and then some characters would call me Killa Kun, and I'm like Killa Kun, and then the chat were like, yeah, Killa Kun. I'm like Killa Kun and Pals, and then it just after that it just went off, and then okay, all right, that's the name of the series now.
And it just
became a thing. For like Easy Pro hard soft mode, that was just me being dumb. Honestly, I was like, you know, okay, so all pro codes on in beginner mode, like Easy Pro hard soft, you know, just like I just put everything together, done. And
nice.
You know, I would say putting the things together is more of like a symbiotic relationship between myself, those who help me on stream, and then, you know, the people in the chat, because we bounce ideas off each other all the time, and sometimes those ideas become grander than themselves in the long run. Like, you know, what do you call him? A follower of mine, great friend of mine, Hale Kamatora, he's the one who showed me the song that's like, oh, get fucked, right? And then I would put that, I was like, that's a funny song. That's a really funny song. So I'm like, that song was stuck in my head for the longest. I'm like, I really want to incorporate that into my stream. And then I'm like, you know what? Like, how, like, let me just find some dancing skeletons, because at the time I had the get wrecked skull emote
Yeah.
where it would just break through the screen and says like, oh, wrecked, which I retired because I preferred Thanos after that.
Of course,
And
we all do.
right. So at the time, I'm like, I was going with the whole skull notion. So I'm like, okay, let's see if I can find some dancing skeletons. I found some. I mapped the music over their dancing. I made sure to like, sync their dancing by slowing down or like increasing their tempo, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just, all right, that's a button, bam. And then every time someone gets smoked, that's what comes out. So like it's a really organic thing, a really symbiotic thing. And same thing for Thanos. Thanos just really, it's funny because I just like, oh, it's Thanos twerking. He didn't really get the name Thanos until later on into the Killa stream, where my favorite persona at the time was known as Thanatos Picaro. And then the fact, Thanos twerking, Than-ass, like Than-ass Picaro. And I'm like, okay, it stuck. That's his name now. That's what this button's called. It's Than-ass, and that's it. So like it's a very like for me, a lot of the things are very organic and stuff, and I'm blessed to have that kind of what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Application to what I put onto my stream and whatnot. But I guess that's the best way to explain it.
Oh, definitely. And I really think that the chat is very important for most of the choices you make when you're planning your streams, when you're even when you're setting up your camera, right? And I remember learning that from a lot of content creators, but I remember clearly wanting to actually have stuff that people could see behind me while I was playing.
Right.
I do, and I do think that that's one of the things that help your stream the most on looking good and making the viewer want to know what you actually have in the back. Where did you get that Majora's Mask, for example? How do you get that poster? How do you get this and that? And it's freaking cool. And also, making the chat part of your decisions says more about you than about your chat.
Right.
And that's very cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, I try to interact as much as I can with the chat and stuff. Whenever there's people or I see streamers or anything like that just don't communicate, and I'm like, come on, communicate more. They're here for you and whatnot. And of course I have to always try and strike that balance between interaction and gameplay and stuff. So sometimes I'm like, all right guys, I gotta finish this boss, or give me a second.
And moving back to a few questions I have here. What is in few words, what is the fifth dimension?
Oh, here we go. The fifth dimension. All right. So, in few words, that's hard, man.
I know. And I've been asked this a lot, but
so
you're the boss here. You have to know. You have to tell them. They need to know.
So the fifth dimension, I guess the fifth dimension in a few words is a stream team that I decided to put together that shares the values of hype and hope, that tries to uplift the next generation of content creators, in part of doing my part to try and relay what I know to the next generation, the next cream of the crop of those people that are going to entertain you. I guess that's the point of that. That's what is the fifth dimension is.
All right, and now in terms of lore and inspiration, what is the fifth dimension? What does it mean? Okay, all right.
Oh man, the fifth dimension, bro. We were
two different things that at the same time they are the same thing. So
it really is. So the fifth dimension, the lore behind the name, the fifth dimension, is so funny and so stupid, but at the same time so smart. Where I've always dealt with the whole concept of when it comes to my brand or whatever, I always dealt with like fire, flame, steel, stuff like that, metal, heavy rock, all that good jazz. But then I listened to a very particular album, which is one of my favorite albums of all time. You guys should definitely go check it out. It's called "The Stage" by Avenged Sevenfold. It's a great album, bro, and it deals a lot with the exploration of AI, space travel, the next frontier. What's left behind, what's
just let me say that I had no idea you were an Avenged Sevenfold fan.
That's my favorite band, bro.
I cannot say that it's my favorite band, but it's on my top 5, and I've been listening I've been listening to them for about
I've seen them live
12
like
years.
10 times. I've seen them live 10 times. They're amazing live.
Bro.
Oh, man.
Bro,
so,
that's nice. We should talk music more often.
all right. Oh, definitely. All right. So when it came to listening to the stage, I was always, enamored with, the concept of space and the concept of like the Star Wars, Star Trek, because my dad was a huge Trekkie, so he got me onto that sci-fi train very early. And that whole concept in dealing with, traveling through galaxies, I'm a huge sucker for anything that deals with space. So I really wanted to deal with that kind of notion going forward with branding of my channel and whatnot. And then, of course, we go to my love of Square Enix properties and stuff that's created by Tetsuya Nomura. So in that story, combining those aspects, there was a time where I would theorize really, really hard on like Kingdom Hearts, or especially when Baron Rex and all that stuff was coming out, and I'm like, yo, we going into the next dimension. And then people ask you like, oh, what dimension is this? Is this the third dimension? It's like, no, we're past the third dimension. We're in the 5th dimension. And he's like, 5th dimension? What do you mean? What 5 dimensions are there? I'm like, okay, so like when it comes to Nomura's work, there's 5 dimensions, right?
Yeah.
There's Final Fantasy. There's Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
That's the 3rd dimension. The 4th dimension is The World Ends With You, and the 5th dimension is Baron Rex. And people are like, but what's the 2nd dimension? I'm like, 2nd dimension is the bouncer.
Yeah, the bouncer.
So,
totally.
Like Final Fantasy, the bouncer, Kingdom Hearts, The World Ends With You, and Baron Rex. And that's the 5th dimension. And then combining that notion of the 5 dimensions of hype, I always look towards I'm always enamored with the actual mathematical concept of the 5th dimension, in which it states that it's theorized that the 4th dimension is time. When we have of course, the 3 dimensions and whatnot, the XYZ axis, and then the 4th dimension beyond that is time. And then there's theorized that there is a dimension above that of time, which is only known as the 5th dimension, and that there's nothing beyond that, and that the 5th dimension is the last dimension. So when we were talking about 5D, is like, what about 6th dimension? So no, it's like, no, there is nothing beyond the 5th dimension. The 5th dimension is complete theory that is a dimension that we know exists above that.
That's
time.
it. That's the end. I mean, the 5th dimension, there's nothing more after that.
Exactly.
Right?
So with that whole concept, of Nomura's 5 dimensions and the whole thought process about the 5th dimension and what is it, it just boils down to the same notion, which I feel is the core of what I do on my channel, and that is to think. That is to think, to theorize, to speculate, to try and put 2 and 2 together, to try and make sense of the vast reaches of space, of where we are in the universe and whatnot. So that's the whole the culmination of the 5th dimension.
Nice. So it was born out of your biggest I don't know, your favorite games of all time, your favorite music, your everything you are. I mean, your persona put into a word, right?
Yeah.
Put into a sentence. I mean, the 5th dimension is basically a dimension you have created based on all other stuff, right?
Right.
And that's amazing. That's amazing. You've gone far and beyond with that, and I think that as a whole, not only the Twitch team, I think we're doing great. Everything is growing, and it's amazing, and that's amazing. And well, for example, I know that you used to you started creating content for Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're gonna go through a little bit of just some insight. You mentioned that you studied Egyptian mythology, which is fucking huge. It's amazing. That's great. And so you know the background, you know the inspiration. I watched your video about Kingdom Hearts references with the new archetype and stuff.
Yep.
So I wanted to ask you, what is HMK's default deck? Like your favorite deck to beat the crap out of anyone?
So I actually run the deck. I actually have my Yu-Gi-Oh cards right. Let me grab them really quick. I'm gonna get them right here. They're right here. You know, I still play. You know, a lot of people, you know, I keep on telling myself that I'm like one of these days I'm just gonna quit Yu-Gi-Oh because Yu-Gi-Oh just keeps getting more hanky panky as time goes on. But my go-to archetype or my go-to style of play always deals with one constant, and those are magicians, spellcasters. I
Nice, me
cannot.
too, bro.
You know, and
I
cannot
I don't
deal
wanna
with
I don't
that.
wanna lie. I do have my deck right behind me, and I don't want to grab it. But but yeah, I've always been into dark magicians. You know, the all spellcasters and Demion and stuff.
That's actually the two
Yeah,
decks I run. Right now I run the Master and Endymion deck, which
nice.
is my green deck. This is what I use pendulums. It's a really fun deck. And I also run a Dark Magician deck. I just wish they would give more support to Dark Magician, like all the support they begin in Red Eyes and Blue Eyes and stuff. And I own a copy. Obviously, it's not on my deck because in my deck I have the blue Dark
Nice.
Magician
Yeah, for
art.
the movie.
Uh,
Yeah, nice.
yeah, I own a copy of every English printed Dark Magician art style, and they're off in my book somewhere. And I just, you know, at first I was like, maybe I'll have a different art for each Dark Magician in my deck. And I'm like, nah, let me just make them all three the blue Dark Magician because I have like multiple copies of the same Dark Magician over and over and over again. And every time there's a new Dark Magician stuff, I always like, all right, I
You
gotta
have to get
collect
it.
it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So, though, yeah, if it comes to one archetype, one style of play, it's always magicians, it's always spellcasters. I love spell counters. Like spell counters
Yeah,
is a
me
great
too.
deck.
Me too. That's my
Um,
thing. That's my thing.
I love spell counters.
Spell counters make the game a lot more fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I just wish they were faster. You know, there's all these decks that are a lot faster.
Yeah.
In terms that use counters. Or
There's a
whatever.
lot of farming that in the way. There's a lot of
Yeah.
farming. You have to do a lot of things just to get into that spot where you feel safe. That you can actually
Yeah,
spend
exactly.
the spell counters and stuff.
I actually have to work my brain instead of just like my
Yeah.
cards playing for me.
Yeah.
Other
Yeah.
like other
Like
archetypes.
Blue
and stuff.
Eyes White Dragon and stuff. Yeah.
Blue Eyes,
Nice.
White Dragon, Cosmos, basically like all those cards do the work for the player. I'm like, bro, like I played against my brother last weekend when I visited his house, and I'm playing against him, and he's like, all right, I'm playing Cosmos. I'm like, okay, Cosmos. He's like, Tin Can. I'm like, here we go. First turn, Tin Can. All right, Tin Can brings out Eclipser, brings out that, brings this out, brings. I'm like, okay, so my turn yet, bro. I don't know. I don't like playing against Cosmos. I don't like playing against Mermails. I don't like playing against all those cards that just literally just run on autopilot. And I'm like, okay, can I
Yeah.
try to do something? And they're like, nah. But that's my bag. That's my bag.
Nice, nice. So I think I feel you. I think I feel you in that way. That's actually why I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh, because of all the new archetypes, the new support that came out for the blue eyes, for the red eyes, for all that. And I mean, it just became a lot more, I don't want to say hard to understand, but frustrating. Yeah, you know, at the very
Frustrating is
least.
a way better way to say it. Frustrating,
Yeah.
definitely.
It's frustrating because I mean you think you're ready with your deck, you with your favorite cards and stuff, and all of a sudden there's a guy
you
that
can't play your favorites anymore. You know,
right, you
like,
cannot play your favorites. That's the thing. I mean, I think it works the same with Pokemon. Pokemon at a competitive level. I mean, looking for the perfect IVs and stuff, and it's just frustrating. That's the word. And
man,
if
don't
you
get
want to
me
have
started on
fun,
the Pokemon.
if you want to have fun with it, just have fun. I mean, you don't have
Exactly.
to. You don't have to be that that snobby about it,
Exactly.
right?
But man, Pokemon. I have tons of favorite Pokemon, and not like okay, like maybe I would say two of them could be tournament viable, but the other Pokemon that are like my top six in my heart, they're like every time I'm training my Umbreon is my favorite Pokemon of all time, right? And every time I'm training my boy here, like my brother's always like, "Ew, why are you training Umbreon? There's way better walls. There's way better walls than Umbreon." I'm like, listen. Umbreon's my favorite Pokemon. Let me live, right? And it's like you're gonna get bodied, and I get bodied, but it doesn't matter because it's Umbreon, because it's my favorite Pokemon, bro. Man,
You know me. You know Aquila is my boy.
I got my Typhlosion. My Typhlosion's over there from Japan.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen it. I think I've seen it. Yeah, there it is.
Typhlosion's there, and my Cynical's right here. Come here, Cynical. Like, oh wait, no, I'm not gonna. Okay, no, he's actually holding up my other Umbreon plushie. So like, if I take him down, then everything falls down.
Everything falls
My
out. Nah,
Cynical's
don't
right
worry,
there.
it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. out of all the collaborations you've done so far, either just for videos or for some streams, I don't know, for the Fifth Dimension streams, maybe on Fridays, what has been your favorite collaboration so far?
That's not fair. That's not fair. You can't be doing that. Like, I don't want to say that.
Right.
Like, cause like the thing is, I collaborate a lot with my friends.
Give me a top 5. No specific order. I got you.
That's.
Maybe the ones
I love my friends equally. All right,
we all know that, man. Come on.
Yeah, but I'm not.
We
You're
all
putting me on
know
the
that,
spot right here.
bro. You're not on the spot.
Oh my god. So of course I love working with the key keepers. I love working with Jared, Dean, Sky, and whatnot. Every time we put something together, it's like it's so when we end up working together, it's so symbiotic and it's so like natural when we talk and stuff and we work together and whatnot, that we just like even when the collaboration is done, when we go offline, when we're done recording or whatever, we always end up talking for like an hour or two and stuff and whatnot, like Dean, Jared, Sky, I love them all to death and whatnot. And that they're obviously some of my favorite people to work with. Other people that I love to work with, that I've worked with multiple times before, is my boy Rabbit Luigi. He's a great Nintendo fan. He does a lot of awesome top 10s. He's super nice, super amicable. And like, once again, it's one of those things that we can bounce off each other. We can talk. Like every time I like working with someone when we collaborate, it's just like when it feels so natural, is that I don't have to force myself to talk a certain way. I don't have to force myself to present myself in a certain way. We just, we come as we are, and then we just go bam, bam. And then, we just hit it out of the park. Rogers Bays, whatchamacallit, Artsy Omni. I love working with Artsy Omni. The guy, if you guys don't know who Artsy Omni is, he's the dude who made the Rayman leak way back when. And he's such a cool person to work with. And I finally met him for the first time before COVID locked everything down over at PAX East 2020. I know that was a really nice time when we were hanging out. And there's so many other people. Miss Click. Every time we end up like streaming or talking together, it's been great. And then one of my favorite, two of my favorite people that I've had on the Fifth Dimension, of course. And then people are like, "Oh, you're just saying that because they're voice actors." And I'm like, well, it's not only because they're voice actors. It would suck if they were voice actors and I didn't get along with them. You know what I mean? And stuff. And I love having Benjamin Diskin, the voice of young Xehanort, and Erica Harlecker, the voice of Panther from Kingdom Hearts and Persona 5. And having them on was just amazing. Like we would just bounce off of each other and stuff. We would just keep talking and whatever. There was no really a dull moment where we were just like, okay, moving on. It's like, no, we just kept talking and talking and talking, and just like, okay, we are talking a lot here, and like I'm running out of breath as we talk. And Ben, I've met him. I've talked to him a couple of times. I've actually met him once over at the Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere during the night party that happened. Because during the Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere, there were two sections. There was the noon event, which me, the key keepers, and all the content creators were invited to and stuff, and we were invited there directly by Square. But at the time, I was partnered by Disney Digital Networks, and I had a lot of friends. I still have a lot of friends in Disney, and at that time, they also invited me to the night version. It's funny because my manager at the time, he messaged me. It's like, "Hey, would you be interested on going to the Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere?" And then I was like, wait a minute, I was already invited to that, so I mean, I'm gonna be there anyway, so I'll see you there. And he's like, you sure you weren't really on the list? I'm like, whoa, what do you mean I'm not on the list? And I was panicking for a second. And I look at his invitation, and his invitation is like the time was at like the time frame that the content creators were at were like noon to 6, and then the time that was there was 6 to 9, and I'm like, what? And then I'm like, oh, this is a separate thing. So I'm like, okay, I guess I got invited to both. So when I went to the night version of it, that's when they had all the celebrities there, and I'm like, oh, like Bill Farmer was there, Paul St. Peter was there, like a bunch of the voice actors that worked on the game were there, man. And I'm like, bro, what's going on, right? And then I saw there was a tweet that Benjamin Diskin put out where it's like, oh man, I can't believe it. HMK just walked past me and didn't even say hi. And I saw the tweet. I'm like, the fuck? Like, what? And I'm looking around. I'm like, and I'm just like dropping stuff. And I find him playing a game. And then he's all like, and I'm like, what? Like, say hi to me. What the heck? So then we started talking and stuff. And then like he's really cool and stuff. And then I saw Paul Peter there. And then we've talked before. It's like, hey, Paul. And then I'm pretty sure Richard Epcar was there too. And I'm pretty sure Erica Harlecker was there too. But I couldn't stay too long, so I couldn't even say hi to her at that part because unfortunately, before I got that invite, I had to schedule my flight for a certain time of the day. So when I was hanging out with all the Disney executives, all the Square executives, all the celebrities and stuff, I'm like, I was only there for an hour, and I'm like, all right, I gotta bounce. And then they're like, what? You have to go? Come on! And they had drinks. They didn't have drinks during the content creation hour. They didn't even have drinks. They fed us, but they didn't have drinks. In the night one, they had drinks, and everyone was drinking and stuff. And I had like 2 drinks with me, and they're like, "What? You can't stay? Come on,
Bro.
stay!" I'm like, "I can't. My flight leaves in an hour. I have to go to the airport." And they're like, "Why is your flight so early?" It's like, "Because I didn't know I was gonna be here, right?" So then I got everyone's contact information and stuff, and I had to bounce, which sucked because I would have loved to stay there until 9. So like it was like 6 to 9, and I always stayed there up until 7, and I had to.
No.
And like it was.
You were just getting there, bro.
I know. So like the long story short was that when I met Ben, like Ben's cool, and then Erica. When I did the show with Erica, it's hilarious because we were supposed to stream for only 2 hours. We ended up streaming for 3 hours. And then after the stream was over, we ended up talking for another hour off, like off screen. We were just talking, and then we're like, bro. And then she's like, oh, you're so easy to talk to. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, wait a minute, like, don't you have to go eat dinner? And then she's like, yeah, but it's so funny. I'm like, no, Eric, go eat. I'm like, we'll talk more and stuff. And then we had like we're gonna say bye to each other like 5 times. We're like, all right, we're leaving now. All right, we keep talking. All right, I'll see you. We keep talking. And I'm like, okay, no, we gotta go now. I'm like, all right, bye. So I mean, I guess those are some of my favorite memories, talking with people and whatnot. So yeah.
That's very nice. And the fact that you got to experience all of that, and that, I mean, that you already know that's gonna keep coming, and that's gonna keep happening, and a lot of opportunities are coming your way, right? Because I mean, now that you are partnered with Square Enix, that you are well, basically you're getting promotion on that end. I mean, how does it make you feel to now being able to work directly with them?
It's whenever I'm working with companies that I really enjoy their products and stuff, it's really always like a dream come true. Basically, being the people like, I love your game, and then that's like, oh, we'll love to work with you on our games, on our franchise, on our series. I'm like, bro, it's a win-win situation for me. And it's even a more of a win-win when there's such great people to work with. Like, people are like, oh, but that's just pure talk. People are like, nah, listen, some of the people that I've worked with within Square and Disney are some of the nicest, most applicable. Like, they're great, and they really make you feel good. Like, at the time, he's no longer the VP of Disney Japan, but Justin Scarpone, he was so cool. I met him during the Kingdom Hearts Union Cross Dandelion meetup that happened in California, whatever. I'm forget. It'll come to me later. Somewhere in California, okay. Right? Everything happens in California, right? So I was actually invited to that event by Square. I had the intent to go. I'm like, man, it would be really nice to go to this thing. And I'm like, okay, I gotta find my ticket. And then the funniest thing, when I'm like, I gotta find my ticket, I pull up my email, and then I get an email from Square. It's like, would you like to go to the Dandelion meetup? I'm like, would I? Yeah. So then they flew me out to California, and they put me up in a hotel. The hotel was really nice. and I was able to bring my fiance, and it was really cool. It was really nice. There was free breakfast, and the breakfast was great. Man, I made myself some chocolate pancakes or whatever, and then I found out that the people, like the hotel that they put me in, is where the Square Enix executives were, and I'm like, what? Literally, bro, during breakfast, I ran into Shinji Hashimoto, and I'm like, hey! So
I know this guy.
Yeah. So then we talked, we took a picture and whatnot. We went to the show. So at the show, I ran into because they sat us in the VIP section, because also Smelly Octopus was there. And once again, I love working with Smelly Octopus, man. That's actually when I first met him in real life. And they put us up in this VIP section, and in this VIP section, I saw some suits coming out from like the back area, make their way here, and these are like business suits, guys. I'm like, okay, these must be the Disney suits. These are the Disney guys, all right? So then they roll up and they sit next to us in the VIP section, and then Justin at the time, I didn't really particularly know who he was. He introduced himself. I was like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. I was like, hi, my name's Justin Scarpone. I'm the VP of Disney Japan. I'm like, oh, hi. Yeah, my name is like, I know who you are. And I'm like,
oh,
and I'm like, so then like he said that, and I looked at my fiance who was sitting next to me. I said that, I'm like, it's like, yeah. And then, okay, yeah, blank, my real name. Yeah, blank, you're like a rock star. And I'm like, huh? What? Who? Me? You're talking to me? And I'm like, and then he's like, yeah. So then we exchanged contact information, and then we met up again multiple times at E3 at the Kingdom Hearts Orchestra that happened before E3 and stuff. And he's a really cool dude. And this guy was like the vice president of Disney Japan, right? And I also, work with other people, Brandon Doherty, Sunil, who's one of the translators that works with Tetsuya Nomura and Taisei and Shinji Hashimoto and whatnot. And I also met all three of them. And it's just, it's really nice being able to work with a company that not only treats you right, but they like the way they talk to me makes it seem that like they really believed in my content and whatnot. And it's just I would just say it's a dream come true, and it's like it's part dream come true and it's part hard work paying off, and I'm glad that my work was able to pay off. So yeah.
But yeah, I would say that it's at least 80% hard work.
Right.
Everything else has come to you because of that hard work. It's
right, but
definitely not easy to keep up.
It's not.
To have that patience and that so many sacrifices that you actually have to do to get there, to get where you want.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears in the early years. Let me tell you, man. Oh my god. And even now, there's those certain points where I feel like, damn, this is rough. But I mean, I wouldn't give it up. I wouldn't give it up for the, okay. I'm not gonna say I wouldn't give it up for the world, because I mean, like, if I had the world, I'm like, yo, that's the world. I'm like, but I still wouldn't give it up. I still wouldn't give it all up. It's crazy. But
Bro,
yeah.
But that's awesome. That's awesome, and it's, I think, as a small streamer myself, it's very, very cool to see a big streamer like you always trying to bro. I mean, where do you think that you feel more comfortable, YouTube or Twitch? And actually, I mean, when it comes to creating the content, do you like more post editing, or do you like the live show, the live stuff? I mean, we all have preferences. I don't. It's not like I don't like YouTube or I don't like Twitch, because that would just be biased. But where do you feel more comfortable at, or what do you think comes easier?
That I got my start on YouTube and whatnot, and on a personal preference, it's hard because it's always in flux. One day I'm really feeling Twitch, one day I'm really feeling YouTube and whatnot. And there are some days where I feel like when I'm making a YouTube video, I'm really in my element. And sometimes there's a stream where I'm like, I am in the zone. Nothing can take me down and whatnot. And but at the time there are also parts like, damn, the streaming on Twitch is kind of rough, and then like, oh man, making a video, dealing with the YouTube algorithm, that's rough. So I'm gonna give this kind of answer to that question, in which I feel in the long run it drains less years off my life being on Twitch than it is on YouTube, because Twitch's algorithm is a lot more consistent and is a lot more, it's a lot more telling in how I'm able to, like, okay, this is what the algorithm is dealing with Twitch these days. It's a lot more consistent, so I mean the changes aren't as radical, and I'm able to like stay on top of that when it comes to how I can present myself or how I can apply myself on Twitch. YouTube, on the other hand, is a nightmare sometimes, because you like, if you don't deal, if you're not able to see the changes of the algorithm coming and aren't able to adapt and change, YouTube will leave you behind like that, right? So it's a lot more headache inducing. It's a lot more taxing in the long run when I look at those two mediums. So my answer would be Twitch will be definitely the one that takes more years and takes less years off my life than YouTube does. So
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
that's aggressive.
That's nice, and I mean, it's just hard to keep up with all the content that you have to create, all the different videos. How many videos do you put up every week? Like three?
I try. I tried, like, three is a very comfortable
Right.
number for me. Something like, if it's any below three, then I feel that, like, damn, this week was a failure. If I
Think
if I
so?
don't put out, yes, oh definitely.
Yeah.
If I don't put at least three videos within this week and spread them out accordingly, then it's a failure. I feel so uncomfortable having a video, like having 3 days between videos. I feel like dirt. I feel like I feel trash. So that's another thing to go into the notion with Twitch. If I feel like I haven't streamed for 2 days, then I feel really bad. So that's like that's the whole taxing aspect when it comes to content creation on YouTube versus Twitch and whatnot.
And that's what happens when you actually love your content, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Definitely.
going back to that original question, I mean, it does. I mean, it does create that sense of urgency of you to keep creating things and keep showing stuff and uploading videos and all of that. And that's amazing. That's amazing. That's very, very hard work. So now, what I want to do, we're gonna get into what I want to call the chill out section of the
All right.
interview, where we're just gonna ramble about not neither personal stuff or lore specific stuff or technical
Man,
information.
it could be anything, bro. Like,
Let's do it. We got this. We got this. Let's start off with, what is your favorite Mexican dish?
let's go. Okay. Oh man. And then, okay. So before the Mexicanos in the chat decide to sandbag me a little bit, I'm Mexican, all right, but I was born over here in the States and whatnot. I like a lot of the Tex-Mex food and whatnot. And then people were like, cheese on your tacos, man, bro, that's not a thing in the motherland. I'm like, it's not, I know, but I love cheese. But when it comes to my favorite Mexican dish, I'm not gonna, like, me saying, of course, like carne asada. Like, you get that wrong. If you get that wrong, don't cook. Carne asada is one of my favorite things. Carne asada fries, carne asada nachos. Just get some good,
Everything carne
steak
asada,
wrap.
basically.
Carne asada, basically. But my favorite Mexican dish would have to be something that my mom makes every now and again, and I love it. It's her own spin on bistec ranchero.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
I remember the first time I heard you say that on stream. I was.
bro, oh my god. Like, she steams
Yeah.
the rice perfectly. She gets a nice refried pinto bean, seasoned accordingly, nice, and then she cuts up the steak, the beefsteak. She cuts it up into squares, and then she puts it in the frying pan. She gets the potatoes. She puts like this really thick Like, bro, I don't like. I really one of these days I just really need to sit down and just watch her make it because the sauce that she uses in that, like, bro, there's so much stuff she puts into it that gets it nice and thick. Like cooking it, like frying it over and over and over again, and you get that. Put it all on a plate. You put the rice here. You put the beef fried beans there. You get the bistec ranchero here. You get a nice thick cut of queso fresco. You slap that mother on the beef,
yes, let's go.
You grill them straight on the stove. You get them. You make sure they're charred. Bam, right there.
Oh man.
Easy.
That's officially the most Mexican thing I've ever heard you say, bro. And that's amazing.
Oh my god! So
Love
that has to be my favorite Mexican
Good,
dish,
good.
like,
So we have bistec ranchero for HMK. Good.
yeah.
All right. So if you had to choose one world from the Kingdom Hearts universe to live in, which one will it be?
Man, I don't know, man. They're all nightmares, bro. Like,
Yeah.
like if you actually think about all these like worlds and stuff, like, oh, fairy tales,
They're all messed up.
right, bro? Like, unless you're giving me a keyblade to go live in those worlds, then I don't know if I want to live in those worlds, man. Like,
You have to. You actually have to choose.
I have to choose. Okay,
Yeah.
so like, it could be a Kingdom Hearts original world or a Disney world or just any
From the series. Yeah, anywhere from the series.
Man, oh man. You would think, Radiant Garden, but that place got bodied like multiple times, man. I don't want to go there. Fuck. I guess. Jeez. Like, I don't want. Twilight Town got some
Pick
good
the
ice cream.
safest.
Like, I feel Twilight Town would be the safest, but I mean, like, the world ever was is clean. But I mean, I feel if I walk outside, I'll get killed in 2 seconds. So, jeez, that's rough. 100 acre wood is safe? No, I'm not gonna do Pooh Bear. Nah, that was boring. Jeez. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Twilight Town then. If I have to live in one, I would have to say
Twilight Town?
Twilight Town.
All right,
Yeah.
I think it's
really fun there.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 Twilight Town is, I think, less chaotic than.
Yeah, but I mean,
Wow.
like, I'm gonna use like a composite Twilight Town, like Twilight Town mixed
All
with
of it,
Twilight
yeah,
Town.
bro. You're not gonna
Yeah,
live just
all
in the main square,
Yeah.
right? Okay, good.
Man.
Which Zelda timeline would you like to revisit in a new game from the series?
Oh, easily Child Timeline. Easily. No, I don't even have to think about that. But it was like, oh, but the Downfall Timeline has more games. And I'm like, no, man. Like, listen, the
We
Child
already have
Timeline.
enough games from
Exactly,
that
bro.
timeline, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, for me, the adult timeline, like, they found a new Hyrule, and I'm not really
yeah.
too keen on that.
Yeah,
But Child Timeline, that's when Hyrule is at its peak of power. Like, it's like, sure, there's all these things happening. Of course, Twilight Princess and Four Swords Adventures, the advent of Vati and the reincarnation of
Majora's
Ganondorf.
Mask and all that, right?
Yeah. So I mean, but Hyrule is at its most powerful and as most prosperous. During that time, and then when there's too much power within the hands of the powerful, that always beckons, the call of people that want to strike against that, leading to more problems, leading to more perils, leading to more story, leading to more, interesting outcomes and whatnot. How Vision would say in Captain America Civil War is like, our very strength invites challenge. Challenge incites conflict, and conflict breeds catastrophe. That's like the core on how the Child Timeline would be able to, like, craft these really cool stories or whatnot. When Hyrule is as strongest, here comes Ganon or whatever to come knock it over, and that's gonna be a spicy game. So I would feel the Child Timeline easily next game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great call. What are your 3 top Kingdom Hearts moments?
Okay, top 3 Kingdom Hearts moments. Right now, they were different back then, but now just like, man, I don't want to say all 3 were in Kingdom Hearts 3 were mine, but they kind of were. Like, no. All right, so my top 3 moments would have to be, and I'm sorry for like, oh really, guys? Nah, my top 3 moments would have to be number 3 when Roxas finally reunites with Sora at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2, where like he's filled with all of this rage, he's filled with all of this doubt, everything that he's known just starts crumbling down. This fake digital world, and some the Diz coming out here saying that, oh, we have great plans for you. It's like, bro, I don't want this Keyblade. Like, all of this stress, all of this is just like compounding onto Roxas, and then as soon as he sees Sora, like all of that just like fades away, and he just comes into that understanding where he's just like he's so angry, he's full of anguish, and then he sees Sora is like everything they've been telling me, all of it, everything I knew wasn't true. Everything they were telling me is true. And then he he had that mentality. He's like, you're lucky, Sora. I know what needs to be done. Looks like my summer vacation's over. I'm like, and that's how you start a game, and I'm like, bro. So yeah, that's number 3. All right.
Okay.
That's number 3. Number 2 would have to be Roxas returning at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. That payoff was so good, seeing him there with Axel, Shield, and Kairi, Sora, and whatnot, and then Xemnas just losing his mind. He's just like in the dust, where like you can't make it out. Like Roxas still wearing his hood in the dust. He's like, hands off my friends. And Xemnas is like, oh no, like it cannot be, right? And then Roxas reveals himself, and then like Xemnas is instantly like sweating bullets and whatnot. He's like, this is impossible. Like, where'd you get a vessel? It's like, same as you. He's like, same how? He's just like, you can see the panic in Xemnas' face, where he's like, bro,
he's actually
this can't
afraid. You can tell.
Yeah. Roxas is terrifying, and the organization knew this. So when Xemnas is like face to face with like number 1 versus number 13 all over again, it's just like, bro, no, this can't be happening. Nah. Right? So literally one of the most powerful Keyblade wielders in existence has returned to existence. Bro, that scene was just like perfect. Right, and then it was made more perfect to remind me I'm able to play the boy, and I'm like, right. So then, so that's number 2. Number 3 would have to be Sora and Yazora's meeting when they met.
Yes,
that's so perfect. You guys need to understand. There's so much going on with that scene. It's just so perfect. Like the fact that they're so comparative and contrasting between each other. How every time, have you noticed this? Listen to this, guys. Every time Sora and Yazora talks, every time it's their turn to talk, it's always, like, okay, it's Sora's turn to talk. It's like we're facing Sora. It's Yazora's turn to talk. It's time for facing Yazora. It's every time their moment, like the camera shifts in perfect perspective, in which it's like letting you know that they're kind of looking into a mirror, right? And like their conversation was just so it was simple yet electric. It was just like you can cut the tension with a knife, and then that tension really didn't hit Sora into the face until Yazora bust out the piece, right?
Yeah.
So then he's like, Yazora busts out the piece, and then Sora's like, bro, like, listen, come on, like, bro,
what's with the weapon? Like actually freaking out.
Yeah, he's freaking out. He's like, listen, I literally had to defeat the most powerful Keyblade master in existence. I literally had to give up my life for one of my best friends, and I've been sitting here alone for God knows how long. And then the first person I meet whoops out a gun on me. I like, bro, Sora's just like, bro, like you saw it. Sora was literally in fight or flight mode. When Yazora busted out his weapons, and
you can see him shaking. You can actually see him shaking.
He's like, okay, we're doing this, and he busts out his Keyblade. That scene was too good. So that's like my favorite scene.
Oh
my God.
I just can't wait for what's to come. It's gonna be freaking huge regarding Kingdom Hearts. All right, so tell me, what is can you please tell me a guilty pleasure? Either music, video games, or movies.
Guilty pleasure, huh? Like, I'm not afraid to talk about my guilty pleasures, but I just have to find a good one.
Yeah, you have to find a good one. Yeah, that's the thing.
All right, guilty pleasures. Let's see, guilty pleasures. Well, you said 1 or 3? You said 1, right?
I mean, 1. If you want to tell me 3, right, it's fine.
No, 1. I'm just looking real.
Okay, cool.
All right, guilty pleasure. Huh? This is. I mean, would it be guilty if I'm comfortable with like the? Oh, okay. I got one. Easy. I am actually a very, 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 very big fan of slice of life animes. And I guess
Okay.
you can call that a guilty pleasure. And my main guilty pleasure, if you want to call it that, I don't know. I love Miss Kobayashi's Maid Dragon. That
Okay.
anime is my jam, and I'm so hyped for season 2 coming out. Bro, bring it home. So, like, okay, I guess, slight comedic slice of life or dramatic slice of life animes. I guess, yeah, sure. That's my
That's
guilty
guilty
pleasure. Sure.
pleasure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
All
Okay.
right.
So now, tell me a reason why any gamer should play Kingdom Hearts at least once.
Okay. I would say any gamer should at least play Kingdom Hearts once. It's because it has so much going for it in terms of all things relating to the game. In terms of like everything that's regarded in the game, in my opinion, is very high quality. Gameplay, music, presentation, graphics. Bro, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2's graphics aged like fine wine. On PS4, they still look amazing, better than some games that came out at the time and even afterwards. So like the whole package of presentation when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, presentation, sound engineering, music, voice acting, effects, combat, and whatnot is just all really high par. And especially, I feel that a lot of people that are within the fighting game community, and this is actually really true for a lot of people already. A lot of people within the actual fighting game community, not just Smash, the actual fighting game community like Kingdom Hearts a lot because the mechanics that you can find within Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 specifically, and even in 3, are not too far off of timing and framing when it comes to fighting games.
Yep.
And a lot of people, like, I've read stories that a lot of people actually play Kingdom Hearts in order to help their understanding and training better in terms of understanding fighting game mechanics when it comes to 2D, 2.5D, and 3D fighters, when it comes to timing, guarding, and whatchamacallit, and the just timing when it comes to frames, and how invincible you can be, what's plus on block, what's all that and stuff. And I feel that Kingdom Hearts is not appreciated as much when it comes to like the story or the gameplay, because a lot of people are like, haha, hanky panky Mickey Mouse, right? The game is actually significantly deeper in all avenues than what a lot of gamers give credit for on the surface level. You're just like, oh, Kingdom Hearts is a hanky panky kiddie game because it's made by Disney. It's like, yeah, so like the last couple of story updates in Union Cross deals with the apocalypse. You're like, yeah, that sure is very kid friendly, right? We've been talking about the end of the world for the last 3 story updates. A lot of kids are gonna die. Is that kid friendly? I don't know about that, Chief.
You tell me.
Man, you tell me. So I feel that's the whole notion on why gamers should really give Kingdom Hearts a shot at least once. That is very much appreciated.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now the final part of the interview for today is called the quick fire round. Okay, I'm gonna say a few things. You're gonna tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
You ready?
I hope so. Let's do it.
Cool. All right, first one. Darkness.
Light.
Force.
Edge.
Summer.
Beach.
Flower.
Milk.
Ocean.
Sky.
Success.
Hard.
Threat.
Challenge.
Friends.
Zoned. You said first thing, man. Bro, you said first thing.
Oh man,
bro. Like,
that's gold. All right, last one. Internet.
Provider.
Internet provider. Nice.
No, because I've been fighting with Comcast.
You're struggling with
Man.
Comcast. Definitely.
Right, internet.
Oh, bro.
Oh,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you so much for this interview, man. I had ton of fun.
It's been a lot of fun, dude. Oh man.
It's been great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me on. If you want me on for another round, just let me know, man. You know where to find me.
Let's go. Yeah, for season 2, we should definitely do another round. And just so you know, the next guest will be Jashish from the team.
I'm gonna watch that.
We're gonna have him here, I think, next Wednesday. Yeah, we have next Wednesday at 5 p.m. I know you have Killa-kun and pals, but this is gonna be on YouTube.
I think I can make it. I think I can make it. I think I can make it. Like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll watch that, and then I'll do Killa-kun's right after.
Nice. And guys, remember this is gonna be on YouTube. Go ahead and please check out HMK. All of his social will be down there. And everyone on Twitch, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for staying here for this interview, which was freaking awesome. This is the very first episode of Who You Talking To. Remember that this is a series that I've been doing for the past 2 months, 3 months now. It's in Spanish, but now we're gonna have this weekly also in English. So
nice.
Let's do this. And HMK, anything else you want to say?
I just want to say, thank you so much for having me on, and thank you so much everyone for coming on out. It's been super fun, and just so you know, this is like, I'm glad that so many people are having fun with the Fifth Dimension. And note to that, we're going to be getting more members sometime soon. I'm already working on the next round of applications, and I'm glad that you are, feeling. I'm glad that not only are you feeling the fruit of the labors of the Fifth Dimension, but that the Fifth Dimension itself is also bearing fruit. So I'm happy all around.
Bro, thank you very much. And well, I think that's it. For today. We're gonna be rating our boy Jashish. You guys know the drill. We're gonna get into the chat and we're gonna say who you talking to. So he knows he's the next guest. He knows that he's gonna be here next week. So guys, let's give him all of our love. Thank you so much for being around. Thank you so much for stopping by. And don't forget to follow HMK. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, everybody. Bye.